Hey, what's up everyone? It's Derek from Nerd or Die, and we got some great updates to our Retrowave stream package. We've added a custom chat box and scene transitions that are free for everyone, and we've also added in 2 new color themes for anyone that owns the overlay pack. In this video, we're going to talk about setting up each of these and how you can easily change the colors of these items inside of OBS Studio, as well as setting up a donation goal widget. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on, as we have a bunch of cool new free resources coming out and some new alerts as well. Let's get right into it. Make sure to check out the description of this video for timestamps that will help you navigate all the things that we cover. Moving forward, we're planning on making revisions and updates as much as we can to our older stream packs. The best place to stay up to date on these changes is via Twitter, so make sure to follow us there if you haven't yet. To start, if you already own the Retrowave overlay pack, then you can re-download your overlay pack from the link that you used before or in your account page. New purchases will automatically receive this update. You can find a link to this product in the product description. If you're looking for some free stream add-ons, then we've made the Chatbox and Stinger transition free, which you can find under the free extras selection on the Retrowave product page. Once you add everything you like, check out and download. Next, make sure to fully unzip each file and store it somewhere on your computer. I have mine here on the desktop. We can view a full text guide from the link inside the overlay folder that takes us to the setup guide for the overlays, Chatbox, and Stinger, as well as the goal widgets. Make sure to install the font Big Noodle Titling or any of the other recommended fonts if you'd like to match the style and add custom options. Now let's go ahead and create a simple starting soon and gaming scene with the new red version of this overlay pack. We'll start with OBS Studio and then briefly cover how to get things imported into Streamlabs OBS as well, as each theme includes the .overlay file. In our starting soon screen, add in a new media source and call it starting scene. Browse to find the stream starting.mp4 file in the color theme that you'd like to use. Set up the video file to loop and enable close file when inactive to reduce CPU usage when the scene is not being shown. While you can use the scene as is, you could also customize it a bit by adding image sources and text sources. For example, we can add an image source and select an icon, let's say for our Discord server, and then position it somewhere on the screen. Then add in a new text source. For the font, we'll want to select the font Big Noodle Titling, and I'll leave the size around 36. The default white color will work here as well. Then enter some text in to talk about our Discord server or whatever you'd like to promote. And then from here, you can repeat this process to add multiple social media links if you'd like. Also, if you need to translate or change the text on this screen, you can swap out the media file for the blank version. Once you've done that, you can add in a new text source. Again, go into the font and select Big Noodle Titling, and you can change the font size to something around 200 or bigger or smaller, depending on how much text you're going to use here. After we get all the settings how we need, you can then enter in the text that you'd like to, so let's just have it say something like starting soon instead. Finally, you can right-click this source and go to Transform and Center to the screen. Repeat this process for any other scenes that you'd like to add. Now let's move on to the in-game overlay. It's done pretty simply, so in a new scene called Gaming Scene, let's first add in a media source that's looping and has close file when inactive checked. For this file, we're going to browse to the webcam folder and then select a webcam file here. And then after that, you can add in your webcam and place it behind this media source as needed. Remember, you can scale down the webcam and even hold Alt to drag in the sides of the webcam to crop if needed. I know this one is a very tight fit, so just take your time with it and then get it just right on the edge. Then let's go ahead and add a new scene we'll call -- supporters. We'll add this scene into our gaming scene later, and we're going to make everything here in a new scene so that we can move it and update it easily when we need to. Next, add in another media source and navigate to the Overlays folder. We've created two variations of a layout that you can use. First, we have a HUD style layout that goes across the bottom. With this layout, you can add in multiple images and text sources to customize it how you'd like it. On the product page, we have some design ideas that you can follow for this layout, and you'll basically just use a mixture of image and text sources to achieve these looks. Let's go ahead and swap out the full width media source for a stacked version. Next, I'll add in an image source. For this example, I'll again navigate to the icons folder and select the star image. Then I'll drag this towards where I want it to be, and I can use the arrow keys to nudge it a bit into place if I need to. Next, I'll add in a text source. We're going to go to the font options and again select Big Noodle titling. And for the font size, I'm going to choose 24. For the text, I'll enter in top tip. Again, if I'm going to move this into place and nudge it a bit, I can just use the arrow keys and drag as I need to. And by the way, if you'd like to, feel free to change out the text color here as well. But for now, I'm going to leave it on the default white. We're going to repeat this process of adding a text source, choose the font Big Noodle titling, and we're going to set the font size to 24. And let's actually enter some demo text like nerd or die or just whatever you want to type out. After that, let's move the text into place again. But before we move on, this next step requires you to use a program like Streamlabs Streamlabels. The program actually updates text files on your computer dynamically, which allows you to import your latest follower, tippers, and other types of supporters. If you don't know much about this program, I definitely recommend checking out a tutorial about it so that you can understand the steps that we're about to take. If you're using Streamlabs OBS, this will actually be built into the program as a label source. Anyways, once everything is in place, you can go to your text source that you just added and choose Read From File. Then browse to the text file that you want to be listed here. For this example, I'll choose the all-time top tipper. From here, it's just a matter of repeating this process. Once you're all done, go back to your gaming scene and add in the -- supporter scene as a source. You'll see that things are grouped nicely so that you can move all of this together as one and resize if needed. That about covers everything that you need to know for the OBS Studio portion of this overlay setup. Now, as I mentioned before, I want to quickly go over the process of Streamlabs OBS, as this is perfect for anyone new to streaming or someone that just wants to get up and running quickly. With Streamlabs OBS open, go into the Settings option, click the Overlays tab, select Import Overlay, and then select the proper overlay file from the files that you've downloaded. These files are included in the separate color folders. From here, you can easily adjust any text sources to customize for your stream, and then adjust the alert sources as needed, as you may want to resize them or just reposition the included ones that we added for you. Double check all other sources, and please note that some text boxes may remain blank. For example, the new tip text source may not show any names, as you might not have any new tippers. It's very easy to swap out things like the icons or even swap out the media sources to a different color variation that is included in one of the other color theme folders. This lets you mix and match and customize things a little bit more. And as I said, the techniques that we've covered in the OBS Studio setup guide will help you further customize this package if you need to. However, the main difference is that Streamlabels has already added into the Streamlabs OBS as a source. So you can actually open up one of the label sources and change the types of labels that you want from the drop-down here. Back inside of OBS Studio though, let's take a look at how we can use the color change filters to change the sources and their colors a bit if you desire. Now you can do this technique in Streamlabs OBS as well. Let's change the color of our webcam frame. And I'm going to do that by right-clicking it in the source and go to filters. Here I'll click the plus and select a color correction filter. Now I can adjust the hue, saturation, and brightness. As you can see, just sliding around the hue slider adjusts the color. Find a color that you like and hit OK to finalize the change. From here, we can actually right-click the source again and hit Copy Filters. Go to another source that we want to adjust and right-click it and hit Paste Filters. This lets us quickly match the colors that we've made and the changes that we've made to the other sources. This pack also includes multiple goal widgets. Let's cover how we can easily set these donation goal widgets up inside of Streamlabs. With the overlay downloaded and extracted onto your computer, make sure to go into the Widgets folder and click the appropriate quick setup link found in your downloaded files. This will begin the installation process. Make sure you're logged into Streamlabs if you're not already. And if you'd like, choose Create Profile here and name it something appropriate such as Retrowave. The import link that you're using right now will only override the widget that you're choosing to install. For example, if you're importing the design for a donation goal, this will not affect your alerts or other goal widgets. If you have a Retrowave collection already, then you can import this here as well. Select Use for the profile that you want to import into, and then we want to copy the widget URL up here at the top. Then paste this URL as a browser source in your streaming software. We recommend to set the size to at least 430 wide. Height of the widget depends on your preferences. If you're using the Streamlabs.overlay file, you may not need to complete this step as your widget box might be already added in. Now, if you'd like to test this widget, you can manually add donations if needed under the My Donations tab. Just make up a few names and amounts and check to see that things are working properly. Once done, you can remove these donations and reset the goal if needed. If you didn't know or didn't notice, there's actually a sound that plays when your goal is achieved. So when you're testing things out, make sure that your goal is hit so that you can hear the sound at least one time. This sound might be a little bit too loud by default, so let's cover how you can actually decrease or even increase the volume. In the goal that you'd like to edit, go to the JS tab, find the piece of code that reads var sound volume equals 40. The number 40 represents the percentage of volume here. Only change the number 40 to a value between 0 and 100. If you make a mistake and it breaks the widget, you may re-import the widget as we did before. So let's pretend I want to change this to 60 instead of 40. This is what it would look like. And then if I wanted to go ahead and change it down to 5%, I would change it like this. And all the way down to 0 would look like this. And 0, of course, would mute it completely. With all that done, we can move on to the Chatbox widget. If we've downloaded and unzipped the free extras selection on the Retrowave product page, then you should be good to go here. Let's go ahead and open up that folder that we've already unzipped and then click the Streamlabs Chatbox quick setup link in your downloaded files to install this widget. If you'd like, again, you can choose Create Profile and name it something like Retrowave. And like our other widgets, this import link will only override your Chatbox widget. This means you can combine it with other alerts and scenes that you've used inside of Streamlabs. And if you want to save your old Chatbox widget, then we highly recommend to do this in a new profile. Remember, you can import this into your current Retrowave profile if you like. Select Use for the profile that you want to import into, and then navigate to the widget URL and copy your unique URL. Then we want to paste this in as a browser source inside of the streaming software that we're using and select a desired width and height. All the standard options inside of Streamlabs will work here, and you can change the text color, hide your messages after a certain amount of time, and even set the options for what is displayed and what is not. However, I do want to cover what we added inside the custom fields, as these are something we created specifically for this profile. Towards the bottom of the widget, you'll find a tab called Custom Fields. Click this tab to reveal more options, and please do not click Reset Code or remove custom fields. Also note that we do not support any custom changes to HTML, CSS, or JavaScript here. Now, align to where will position which part you would like to align your chat box to. Now, this can be top or bottom. Please don't include any quotes or spaces or anything. Just make sure it says top or bottom in all lowercase. Text alignment is where you would like the text to be aligned to, and this can be right, left, or center. Again, just make sure this is all lowercase when you type it in. And then character separator is the character that is separating the username and message. Typically, this is something like a semicolon, colon, a slash, just something you think looks cool or looks correct. Font family would be the font that you like to use for this package. The default is Oswald. And then font weight is the boldness of the font that you're using, where higher is bolder. However, some fonts don't have different font weights and may not respond to this option. Maximum messages lets you pick the amount of messages that you want to show at one time. You can put this higher if you like. It's just something that we wanted to add in case you don't want too many messages on your screen. Scale from size is a multiplier that determines the original size of the username. So when it kind of flies in, it's multiplied by a certain amount, which is this number, and the higher here is larger. So if you make it really high, it's going to be really big at the start and then scale down to the size that you see when it's actually just a standard text message. Now, scale animation speed lets you determine how fast you want the scaling animation to be for the username. Lower here will be a faster effect. Border height is the height of the dividing border on the bottom. And then border color lets you choose a dividing border color between each message. And then we also added in margin, which is the space in between each message. Background color, which is the background color of each message. And then the opacity of the background color, and lower here will make it more see-through. So go ahead and play around with these options if you like. Of course, you can match the red and black theme easily by changing out the colors in the custom fields. Once you got everything done, you can go into your own chat and type in a couple of messages to see how things are looking, or you can use the preview above to get an idea. And with all that done here, we're going to move on to adding stinger transitions into our stream design. For the last part of this video, we're going to set up the stinger transitions in both OBS Studio and Streamlabs OBS, as they are slightly different. However, this is very simple to do. And with all the files downloaded from the free extra option on the Retrowave page, again, make sure everything's extracted and unzipped. And once you've done that, open up OBS Studio and select Stinger under the Scene Transition sections. If you installed the plugin for this previously, you might not see Stinger Transitions, and you might also need to add this in as a scene transition as well. So please just make sure you're using the latest version of OBS Studio and that it just says Stinger. Click on the gear icon and go to Properties, and for the video file, browse and choose the Stinger file. Transition point type is time milliseconds. Transition point will be 1000, which is actually just 1 second. If this stinger had sounds, we'd choose monitor and output, and the one that I selected does not, but we did include some that actually do have sounds, so check this option if needed. After that, just click OK, and whenever you change scenes, you should see this custom transition that we've created. Inside of Streamlabs OBS, the process is a very similar one. Just go ahead and click the gear icon that's here on the left side next to the Scene Collections label. Change transition to Stinger, set the duration to 2000, choose the Stinger video file with the Browse button, leave the transition point type to time milliseconds, and enter 1000 for the transition point. Again, you can leave these other options here at default and you'll be good to go, but you might need to set things to monitor and output for the audio if your stinger has sound. Now go ahead and test things out and make sure that it's working properly. And with all that, we're done setting up this complete overlay. As you can see, there's a lot added into it, and it's one of our favorites. So we really enjoyed adding in a couple of new color themes, and we hope you like them as well. Please let us know in the comments below if you have any questions about this overlay setup process. And if you liked the video, make sure to toss it a like. And if you're looking for more great streaming and video game related content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel with notifications on, as we're going to be releasing new alerts soon and a video about a lot of free stuff that we've added to our website. So I think a lot of you will not want to miss out on that. And as always, thanks for watching.